Hi folks, welcome. So I'm the chair and the director of all the MSc in computing majors that we have. And within the MSc in computing, we have this one as well, which is the graduate certificate. And I'll explain later on how it fits in with the MSc. But for now, I have about 14 overheads, which I'll go through, which talk about the structure, give you a little bit of background, and then there's some frequently asked questions at the end. Okay, so as Anya said, there'll be an open Q&A at the end as well. So the plan is for me to just press on really and try and explain as much as I can about the program, which we ran last year, so we and the year before. So we have a good feeling for how it works and how it doesn't. Okay, so let's see. I shall go in here. Now, so who are we? So as a university, DCU is ranked in the top 2% of universities worldwide. But they're also ranked 19th in the world for graduate employment, which is, we're very proud of that one. It's also, there's a group of what are called young universities, or under 50 years old, if that's young. And we're one of the world's leading young universities and the highest ranked young university in Ireland. And we're also ranked in the top 100 universities global for social and economic impact. The links to all those are available through the little starred elements there. Okay. So what is the graduate cert in AI? Well, it lasts approximately 9 months part-time, okay? That's just taking into account the exam period, et cetera, et cetera. It's 2 evenings per week. And don't worry about the COVID element of this. I'll tell you the overall structure first, and then we'll talk about what's going to happen this year. So 2 evenings per week. And we set those lectures in the time slots of from 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock, mainly because of the traffic situation in Dublin. And we felt it was easier for people to get in and get out than to have to try and come here for 7. They'd never make it. Okay, so that's across 2 semesters. So in semester 1, there would be 2 modules per week. And in semester 2, there'd be 3 modules per week, but one of them isn't lecture-based, it's completely online. And why would you do this course? Well, the graduates from this course go on to work in roles such as data analysts, data scientists, and also software developers within AI itself. Okay, so as we know, I don't need to labor the point, artificial intelligence is increasingly important, both in traditional and in non-traditional elements of computing. And effectively what you're getting is a foundational course, but foundational not in the fact that it's simple, but foundational in the fact that you can build upon it. Course in artificial intelligence. And I'll talk about what's in there now. So this is what it looks like. The first semester, the 2 modules, one of them is called Data Management and Visualization, and the other one is called Statistical Data Analysis. Okay? And we feel they're both incredibly important. I think just as an overview, you could think about the idea that one of the aspects of artificial intelligence is to be able to understand and display your results in a particular manner that reflects the data. And obviously, you need to be able to analyze the data. So that's why we need statistical data analysis to ensure that you're making statements that you can stand over, again, statistically, mathematically. Then in the second semester, you'll do a course called Machine Learning, okay? And I'll talk a little bit more in detail about that now. Again, that's a course that we've been running for a number of years, and it really allows you to apply the knowledge that you've picked up into an artificial intelligence manner of using models to generate results, okay? And then in a similar way, the other module, which is from the MSc, is called Data Analytics and Data Mining. And again, this is, you found out about visualization and management, but how are you going to get the data? So you need to often mine for it. In other words, take it out of situations where, if you like, it's buried with a lot of data that you don't want. And as someone said to me recently, data cleaning is probably the big thing that you need to learn in order to make data worthwhile. And then the final module in the third semester is the one that I said was online, career transition and success. And that's provided by our colleagues in the connected distance education section of DCU. It's not given by the School of Computing, but it's run across a number of MSc modules. So let's have a look at them in a little bit more detail. So what's data management and visualization? Okay, so the module, sorry, I better go back. Slightly too sensitive. And I'll just move this a little bit down here. Yeah. So, so the idea behind data management and visualization is that it's practical, okay? But in that practicality, what you'll be doing is you'll be looking at the gathering of data, you'll be looking at the cleaning of data, you'll be looking at the managing of it, and then you'll be looking at the visualization, okay? And in that, that will also deal with big data, as it's sometimes termed, although we don't tend to use that in here because what was big a couple of years ago isn't big now. The emphasis on the module is on getting an intuitive understanding of the principles of visualization and gathering, and a practical ability to apply these to data examples drawn from a number of diverse systems, including financial systems, etc. So this is not about graph theory, although graph theory is fascinating. This is not about the mathematical sophistication of how do we create, you know, using NVIDIA chips, how do we create graphs on screen? It's about how do we take the data, how do we use various tools, and those tools would involve programming libraries as well, not just, if you like, bolt-on tools, in order to visualize the data and what are we getting from that. Okay, it's a very popular course. It always draws some great praise from the students. Again, it's been running for a number of years. And then I mentioned the statistical data analysis. So this does imply that you will need to have a mathematical background, but I think it's more be willing to work on it rather than, you know, we're not expecting you to come in with a knowledge of statistics, but we are expecting you to work on it, okay? So it aims to review and complement the foundation of statistical knowledge, right? To understand what do we mean when we say that something is statistically significant, okay? What does that actually mean? And then we want to establish a context for a range of methods used in the analysis of simple and complex systems. Again, the emphasis is on an intuitive understanding of the principles and a practical ability to apply it. So we're going to use the same systems that you will visualize, right? But now we're going to do, instead of just visualizing them, what we're going to do is you're going to be statistically modeling them using statistical distributions, for example, and understanding what that means, and understanding what statistical tests mean, and when are they appropriate, and what should you use, okay? So both of these are foundational, like I said, not in the sense that they're simple, but in the sense that they give you a fantastic foundation for then being able to make statements about the data that you gather and you create. Okay. So that's the first semester. Second semester, then we have machine learning, okay? And the idea there is to introduce students to a set of intelligent algorithms applied in modern computing. So you can see how this is a core aspect of artificial intelligence, right? And you as students will develop the theoretical and mathematical underpinning of those algorithms, and then show how they can be used in problem-solving environments. I think it's fair to say if you were, so our school is just a school, it's called a School of Computing. It's inside the Faculty of Engineering and Computing. And if you were to characterize the School of Computing, it is about practicality, okay? So we want you to be able to use all of these skills that you learn. And I'll talk later on about what the implications of that are. But this is about developing practical solutions. It's not just about the theory. And then obviously through that, you should be able to understand the properties and the limitations of the algorithms. Where is it appropriate to use them? When is it not appropriate to use them? And then gain experience with working with them. Okay? Again, a very popular course and one that we've had on the books and that keeps changing, but is very, very popular with students. And then we have data analytics and data mining. This is an interesting one because it goes across a number of different spaces, if you like. It's used by financial technology companies. It's also used by companies in marketing, etc., etc. So what you're looking for with data analytics and data mining is trying to be able to make better decisions and also to verify or to disprove existing models and theories. So what you'd be looking at is the science of examining raw data with the purpose of drawing conclusions about that information. That's the data analytics part. But also it covers the systematic and sequential process of identifying and discovering hidden patterns and information in a large data set. Okay? So it's also sometimes described as knowledge discovery in databases. And for example, it's an increasingly important topic in the financial technology space. So these again are foundational in that you're learning about the algorithms, you're learning how to identify what's appropriate, you're learning how to take large data sets and eventually analyze them. Okay, so that's why that's important. So the final module, which isn't on our MSc program, but which we think is very important given that graduate certificate should exist on its own, is called Career Transitions and Success. And it looks at all the practical issues associated with moving into industry having completed this course. Like I say, very popular course. It's been delivered by our partners in the DCU Connected group, and they specialize in online education. And they've been delivering all their courses online for years. So one of the questions that a lot of students have been asking me is, the graduate certificate, by the way, exists on its own, and it is a very useful, obviously we believe this because it's true, a very useful qualification to get in its own right. So it implies that it's graduate. So in other words, it's postgraduate, which sounds strange, but it's a graduate certificate. You can only do the certificate at postgraduate level. Secondly, it's in AI. And thirdly, you've got a foundation on which to go and to either learn more or to apply it within companies. However, because we run it in the school, we also run our very successful MSc program. And because you will have completed 4 computing modules, then you will have an exemption on those 4 modules if and when you decide to apply for the MSc in computing, the major in artificial intelligence. You don't have to apply immediately. You can wait a few years and then apply. If you do apply then, you would just require the completion of 4 more taught modules. I won't go into them now, it's not appropriate. And then what we call a practicum or a research project. So typically you'd have 4 more taught modules and a practicum, okay? So that would take another year if you like. Full year though, not an academic year. Okay. So how do you apply? So this is a Springboard course. As such, it is supported by the government and through the Springboard program. And its course code is DC843 part-time. And you should be able to get the details on the course website of Springboard courses, okay? I found it easier to go Springboard courses, DCU, and then I found it a lot easier. But hey, that's just me. So who am I? I'm Renat Verbruggen. I'm an assistant professor in the School of Computing. I've been here for more years than I care to remember. And that's my email, renat.verbruggen@dcu.ie. So anything to do with academic queries, you send to me. Applications don't have to go through Springboard, okay? And then in general, the big point is we're going to have to close the applicants this weekend. So try and get your application in as soon as you can.